Welcome to the Mortgage Wise radio show and video podcast, where we educate and provide expert advice on personal finance, mortgages, and real estate investing.
Show me the money.
As a result of what we do, our team has helped hundreds of first-time buyers, experienced buyers, and real estate investors achieve their goals of home ownership.
I wonder if there's a connection there.
Here are your executive producers and mortgage advisors, Randy and Veronica Chambliss.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mortgage Wise radio show. This is episode 17, I believe.
17.
That means it's 17 episodes we've done so far. We was committed at the beginning of 2021. We were going to start doing an episode every week, and we actually made it to number 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, big ups for that, man. Today we have a very, very special guest. First off, we appreciate you guys for attending. I'm Randy Chambliss. I'm the Executive Director of Louisiana Housing Authority, but also I'm a Corporate Branch Manager with Geneva Financial, and I have to my right.
I am Veronica Chambliss. I'm also a Corporate Branch Manager with Geneva Financial, and I'm also the Housing Director of Louisiana Housing Authority. So, welcome to episode 17. Can you believe that?
Ooh, yeah.
Consistency. I can't tell you how many times I felt throughout the day like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm like, you know what? When it came closer to the time, I'm like, I gotta do it though. I gotta do it.
Make it happen.
So, all right, guys, in this episode, we're going to discuss why is financial literacy and following a financial plan significant for community economic development and growth with Stephanie Chambliss. So Stephanie Chambliss is the co-owner and general manager of PJ's Coffee on Read Boulevard and a servant leader for economic growth in the New Orleans East community. Mrs. Chambliss and her business partner, Elwood McCoy, have brought many jobs to an underserved New Orleans East community. Amen.
Yes.
PJ's Coffee on Read Boulevard not only provides a great coffee experience, but provides meeting spaces for study groups, mobile entrepreneurs, community organizers, church groups, and civic organizations. Since its interception, PJ's Coffee on Read Boulevard has become the premier coffee house in the New Orleans East community. The coffee shop provides patrons with a home away from home.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
sir.
So welcome, Miss Stephanie. Welcome, Miss Chambliss, to the Mortgage Wise radio show. How are you today?
I am great. I am highly motivated after hearing your mentor. I'm just trying to figure out why it took 17 episodes before y'all thought about reaching out to me. And I see you talk to y'all all the time, but you know what? Better late than never. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we are excited that you're here. This topic is very, very needed to be spoke about. Community development and also growth is very important. So we basically want to dive right into what's this episode, right? But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit about your story? Because we know you're here, right? But it took a lot of hard work, a lot of growth that you had to grow through to get here, obviously, you and Mr. McCoy. So tell us a little bit about your story.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you think that I'm here. Okay. Thank you for that. Still climbing. But our story is an interesting story because it really started with a journey of needing a coffee shop to work out of and study out of in the New Orleans area. I found myself always having to leave the East to go for basic business. I know you all meet with clients, I was meeting with clients and I was also studying for a license. So you really could find me at any coffee shop throughout the city. It just depending upon, where I was and how much time I had. But I'm the type that I don't work at home much. So I always like to stay focused and just kind of grind out in a coffee shop. I could be there from open to close, whether I was studying or working. And then as a professional, when you're meeting with clients, sometimes you can't really go into people's homes, especially as, a lady by yourself. So it was so many factors that went into play. I knew that there were other young professionals studying for licenses just like me and other working professionals who needed, a good safe space to meet with clients. So long story short, I worked on a business plan for about 2 years. I had, 2 other people working with me, but, we did it ourselves. We did all the research. I tell people all the time, I would sit at the restaurant that's next to where we're located now and watch the traffic, going up and down Read Boulevard. So there was nothing that no one could tell me about the traffic flow and everything that was in that area because I did the research myself. So once we did the business plan, I kind of just sat on it to go back a little bit until we found the perfect location. So I would just ride up and down because I knew the East. I knew everything. The East was definitely before Katrina. I knew a lot of residents from the East had returned home and purchased their homes outright with insurance money. Like these things that I knew being a resident and, someone in this community. So I knew that the support was there if we could get the perfect location.
Right.
So, the location that we're in now, that just kind of happened. Something happened with that location. I saw a sign go up and I was the first one basically to go into that location to see it. Well, the problem with that was we had not yet secured the franchise license. So we were still going through the franchise process. Mm-hmm. So someone else had come in and actually secured the building. And it was almost like a bummer, for me. And I'm the type, I don't give up. I tell people that all the time. And it's really not over until the fat lady sings.
Yes.
So I told the realtor who had that space, I said, look, if something goes wrong, with this deal, I say, please make me the first person that you call. So he called me. So meanwhile, we continue going through the franchising process. So he called me about a month later at like 9:00 that night and told me that the building had actually become available. Mm. And at that time, I was like, we have to have this building. And why did we have to have it? Because I did the research on a location and it was right off of I-10. So we needed to be somewhere where folks could hurry up, get on and off, I-10. We needed to be able to connect with travelers. And then we wanted to be in a space where we felt like, people would come from Crowder back one for Read, or they would come up Bullitt one exit for Read. But we didn't feel that people would go from Crowder to Bullitt and vice versa. So, it just all kind of worked out. Long story short, it was a lot of time, patience, research, and dedication. And it was probably a 2-year process. So when people saw the sign go up, they have to know how much work really went into this project before we actually got the doors open.
Right. That's awesome because 2 years, oftentimes people give up in the midst of that time period, but they think nothing is happening. But obviously it was actually reproducing itself as you was going through that motion, because first you produced it in your mind as a thought, as an idea, and then you wrote it down on paper. That was your plan. Then you just started implementing that plan. So, that leads us to the topic today, guys. And if you're just joining us, the topic today is why is financial literacy and following a financial plan significant for community development and growth? So, let's talk about that a little bit, because I know you're real big, Stephanie, on community development and growth, right? So, so why you think it's important that individuals have a financial education first to be able to put themselves in a position to be able to be a franchise owner?
So you have to have financial education or financial literacy, because it really, really takes a lot to get open, and we are first generation, really college students per se. Our parents may have started school, but maybe they didn't finish. They became laborers. And, our grandparents and our great grandparents, if they finished 8th grade, that was a success, right? So one, we have to have some type of footprint for the younger people that are coming behind us. That's why it must be, written down. It must be documented. But anytime you want to do anything in business, everyone wants to see your tax returns. They want to see financial statements. So you have to really start setting yourself up very, very, very early on. Your personal credit, your personal assets, your personal liabilities. That's what everyone looks at, all of the financial institutions, until your business establishes business credit. So, you can't think I'm going to get a tax ID number and I'm gonna put everything in my business name. No, you are your business. So you have to understand that very early on. One of the things that, I wish I would have done differently, because I did become a homeowner at 25, but it was a single family unit. I wish I would have gotten a double or a duplex. I mean, not a duplex, but a fourplex or something like that, so that I could have that rental income, and I could have used that asset to go along with everything else that I had to provide. Personally, I had some difficulty having a single family home, and someone wanted to take that as collateral. I felt that it would have been much easier if it would have been more of a rental property. So that those are all some of the things, if I wish I would have known earlier, one of the things I would have did different. I would have gotten a double instead of a single family home, especially as a young single woman. And then that property could have been paying for itself. And then I could have used it as an asset on my financial statements. So to go back to what you were saying, really consulting with, different programs of financial professionals that could really help you start thinking early on before you even get into opening a business or real estate. You have to have some type of strategy, and it needs to be documented. Again, even with the type of business that I'm in, we had to have a business plan, and a major part of that business plan was the financials. That was probably the most important piece. Right. What do you have, and where are you trying to go, and how you're going to get there? Everyone wants to know. So,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we say it all the time, in this business world, people don't ask, what was your GPA? Let me see, they want to know your financials. What's your income statement? What's that balance sheet? What's your credit score? And so it's highly important in this world that we're in now that we increase our scores as much as we possibly can, keep our debts as low as we possibly can, and have our living expenses low, like you mentioned earlier, by having that double. That way your living expenses are low, you have cash flow coming in. So now you have some wiggle room to be able to make those investments. Mm-hmm. And, we talk about it all the time, about, financial wellness, during COVID-19 right now, a lot of people we know lost their lives. Some people lost their jobs or lost hours. And, the number one cause of stress is money. So when somebody Google what's the number one cause of stress, you're going to see money pop up. And if that's the cause of stress, and we know that stress lowers the immune system, right? And so when you go to the doctor and you're doing that transplant, that organ transplant that doctor is doing, they give that person hormones from stress hormones to shut off the immune system. And so now that person is, if that's the truth, and it is, then if we are stressing over money, our credit scores is bad, we have no savings, we have no extra income coming in, we lost our job, then the stress level is super, super high. And so now, when you have that financial education, like you mentioned, your credit scores is higher, you put in the work, you have some cash flow coming in, you have a savings, right? And you have that vision of where you're going. It's written down in the plan. Now the stress level is not there as much. Now the immune system could be higher, you're more happier, you're more excited, because now you actually have that goal, that vision to move forward. So in regards to when you made that decision, like what made you make the decision to say, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, I no longer want to work for corporate America? Like what made you make that decision?
So that really wasn't the decision. So because of the line of work that I'm in, and to go back just a little bit, I was studying to be a CPA. So I do hold an accounting degree from LSU. I have a master's from Texas Southern, and I'm a financial advisor. So I have securities licenses to trade on the stock market. So I was always in the coffee shop studying for something. So I had this vision that, and you all have been to the shop, so you've seen that office, the private office that we have. I said, I could work out of this office, and see my clients, and then the shop can still run. So I never intended to totally step away. But again, that comes with strategy and writing a business plan, and as far as the financial piece goes, like I said, because of because of the education that I have, the formal education that I have, it was not seamless, but I know that I had an advantage, something that most entrepreneurs don't have if they don't have a finance or an accounting or economics degree. But like I said, I just had this business plan because I knew that there were so many people in this area. New Orleans East was the largest landmass. And I knew with the communities that were there, Lake Willow, Spring Lake, Lake Forest Estates, McKendall Estates, Eastover, I knew that were, retired educators. These were retired people from the city. These people had disposable income. So with doing some research, I just knew that, I'm blessed that I got the opportunity to do it, because I know a lot of people maybe had that idea. Some people looked into it, but again, I worked on it for 2 years. So that may be, the real advantage that I have. I kind of stuck to it and didn't let up. I think that a lot of people may have looked into it, over a 10 or 15 year period. And at the time, maybe a franchise wasn't giving out a license. So they just kind of maybe walked away from it and forgot about it. But like I said, I just kind of wrote my plan and just sat on it. I knew it was a lot of people just like me that lived in this area. So I felt like if we were able to get the perfect location, then this business would be able to sustain, and entrepreneurs should know that, your business, that's your investment, that's your vision from God. So you have to be prepared to go with it. So, any given time you come there, I'm there, y'all know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't expect, other people to live your vision. If that's what God gave you, if that's where your heart is going and you believe in it, and like your mentor was saying on the motivation speech, when this opened up, you wake up to win, you wake up early. I wake up early every day. I don't know, what could have happened. The power could have went out at the shop. Somebody might call in. You just never know. So, when you're waking up early, you're preparing, but you're always working in it. And then you still have to find time to work on it. So, it's a lot, so you have to be highly organized. Like we said, a lot of planning and documenting, that's key. It won't just run itself once the doors get open, for any. You have to be prepared to go with it wherever it goes.
And I'm a witness to watching you work from sun up to sundown. I witnessed it from the day you opened.
Right.
Would you say, Steph?
It's gotten better. We're embarking upon our 2-year anniversary. May 19 makes 2 years. So, everyone says, and, the first 3 years you have to, really, really work it. So we made it through, the worst part of the pandemic. But again, you have to stick with it. You have to go with it. You have to fight for it. And you have to know that if nobody else is there, you're going to be the last man standing for your business. That is a must. And not turn that over to anyone. That's a must.
Right. And so, guys, if you're just joining us, we talking to Miss Stephanie Chambliss. She's the co-owner and also general manager of PJ's Coffee on Read Boulevard. What's that location? What's the address of the coffee shop?
We are located at 5733 Read Boulevard. It's right off of I-10, right between the Waffle House and the Whitney Bank. 5733 Read Boulevard, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70127 is the zip.
Awesome. And in regards to, we talked about, financial literacy and why that's significant to community development and growth. So let's talk a little bit about just that, growth and development. So when you have that location, that's a central hub, and now you've been successful for these couple of years. So other business owners are watching and saying, should we go and invest in New Orleans East? Or should we not invest? And so with the success that you and your business partner, Mr. McCoy, have been having, a lot of business owners starting to look at the New Orleans East, and hopefully we'll have some more people that will commit to it so we can build that community. That's a huge difference, between a neighborhood and community, right? That community, we have the resources and everything there in that neighborhood. We don't have to leave out that neighborhood to go to another parish to go grocery shopping or go get gas or go buy clothes. We look at the Slidell corridor out of Slidell, right off the interstate. They have everything on that corridor. Yeah. And so we want to be able to put ourselves in the best position. And I say it all the time, you have to be willing to participate in your own rescue, right? The government sometimes not going to rescue you. The city government might not rescue you. The state government might not rescue you, neither the federal. but you have to be participating, have to choose to participate in your own rescue. So when you take leaps like you did, you and Mr. McCoy, and you say, okay, I'm gonna put everything on the line, I'm gonna go and make this happen. Now all of a sudden the community start to support it, because we was at that grand opening and it was like overwhelming. You know, I was super excited because it was like people talk about the New Orleans East not being supportive, but that's not true. You had so many people at that grand opening, so many people that was there supporting. To this day, people support. So talk a little bit about how important it is for individuals to have, like you say, have their credit together, have their finances together, but also be willing to open up businesses in our own community.
Absolutely. One of the things that I discovered is a lot of the decision makers that determine whether or not businesses come to the East do not live in the East. They might not even live in a city. They may not even live in a state. So you're right when you say you have to be willing to participate in your own rescue. I tell people all the time, I did my own research. I didn't wait for people to tell me what the population of New Orleans East was. I actually got it from the city council person at that time. I researched that. As far as the market traffic, the research analysis, I went to NOLA BA to get, traffic flow. So you have to do your own research. Like if you live in New Orleans, you know what's in the East and what's not in the East. You can do your own research and don't be afraid to invest in this area, because the people really want quality business and they really will support you. The population is there, the disposable income is there. But I think that a lot of times we are waiting for other people to come in and rescue us, whether it's the government or, businesses who send brokers in to survey the area. So they take a bus ride through the East and then they decide, no, this is not good for us. Like I said, the major difference with me was that I sat and did a lot of the research myself. So, again, if you're an entrepreneur at heart, you believe in your heart, your spirit that, this is what I want to do. I feel this could be successful. I've been working on this for a long time. Is the East a place for me? You could do your research and see, and, come to the coffee shop and talk to me. But the market is definitely there for I could think of a lot of businesses that could come to this area and do very well, but again, you have to be able to work your business and be there and do your research. But the population is there. The community is very, very, very supportive. We have some people come every day, some come 2 times a day, some come 3 times a day. We're always doing events there, voters registration drives, school supply drive. We're always giving away things. I think we did a float contest for Mardi Gras. So we really stay engaged. But like I said, a lot of the customers, they come every day. And one thing that I knew, because I was doing research and I was always going to other shops to study, I would see people that I knew lived in the East at other shops across the city, which means they were only going to these other shops because they didn't have one in their backyard. And they are customers of ours now. So again, if you're willing to do research for your business, you don't have to depend on anyone else to come in and tell you what they think is best for this area. If you live in this city, nobody could tell you better than you.
Exactly. And I don't know if people caught those nuggets that you dropped, but you definitely dropped a couple of jewels. So if you don't mind, kind of back up. So if we have like entrepreneurs that's listening to us right now, can you tell us some things like as far as, because we hear you say do your own research, but it's some people that really don't truly understand what that means. So can you go into some things that you did to do your own research? Like, for example, you said you contacted the city council person at that time to find out some information about the population. You went to that website to find out about the traffic flow. So can you talk about those things, Steph?
Okay, yeah. So again, you have to use your resources. So I did contact the city person because I needed to know what the population was in this area. That was very important because I was working on a business plan. I had to figure out, how many people that we have to see every day to at least break even. So I contacted the city person, city council. I met with the state representative. of the district at that time, wanted to talk to him, let him know what we were trying to do, get some input, get some insight. Went to the Urban League. They have a business resource center. Workforce development was critical for us in terms of getting the staff. And then once we found them, to get them trained. So we went to the Urban League. They have both a women's business resource center and they have a workforce development center. So they helped us select our initial staff and get them trained with the soft skills that were needed. So when you hear people say, oh, the staff has excellent customer service, that original staff we had, most of them went through a workforce development program. Now, the Urban League is not the only nonprofit that offers that. Job One has a workforce development program. I'm trying to think who else. I think Goodwill has a workforce development program. So, you could check into that. So went to the Urban League, got help with workforce development. Good Work Networks, I think they were doing QuickBooks training. So we sent the store manager over to Good Work Networks. They got QuickBooks training. And then they gave us a free software because that was a part of the program at the time. So again, just being resourceful. And sometimes you don't know who to go to or where to start. So my advice would be go to maybe the Business Resource Center at the Urban League. And I have to give the disclosure that I used to work there as an accountant maybe about 10 years ago. So that's how I knew, again, all of the things that they were doing in the community. So I would say that that's a good starting point for anyone. Either go to Job One, Goodwill, or the Urban League. Check out a Business Resource Center. Go sit with a counselor. It's no charge to talk to them. And they could at least start to point you in the direction of some of the people that you need to start talking to. And in the meantime, pull your credit. That's very important. If you're starting a new business, your business does not have any credit, you are your business. So you can go to, I think it's annualcreditreport.com. I think that's the website. You could get a free credit report from each of the 3 agencies and see what your credit looks like and start working on that, because nothing happens overnight. And I could tell you, your credit is going to speak for a lot of you. Creditors don't care how good you look. They don't care how well you speak. They want to know not even who you used to be or what you used to be. They want to know who you are now. And a lot of that's going to be told on your credit report. And that's free. So everything that I've mentioned, all of these resources are free, but you have to be willing to do the research. So like you said, Randy, you mentioned earlier how some people, they may have an idea and then something goes wrong and they just kind of throw it away. I just had this model where I wanted to do at least one thing every day to move the needle. That's what I always say. I just want to move the needle. One thing, just one thing every day, because I still was working full time, whether it was check your credit, do research, or, do something, call somebody, do one thing every day. And I did it over 2 years. So when you all saw the grand opening, again, that was 2 years in the making. And at that time, we didn't know how big it was going to be. We didn't know that it was going to be everything it was now. But it's a direct result of doing a lot of research and using a lot of resources. We got a lot of people involved. Even when we were interviewing the staff before we did the Urban League training, we partnered with Dr. Davis in the hospital, New Orleans East Hospital, because we always want to use resources. So we used their cafeteria area to interview the staff. Again, they didn't have a coffee shop or nowhere in the East we could interview staff. So we used the hospital. We leveraged their relationship. And then when we actually did the workforce development training, we knew a lot of the population didn't have transportation. If we want to be in the East, we want to employ people in the East, we need to train them in the East. So we partnered with the library. Again, everything was free. We partnered with the library and we did the workforce development in there.
Awesome. Wow. Well, listen, I don't know how to thank you, because a lot of people that's hearing this right now it's allowing them to have a blueprint to follow, to at least get started. So we appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing. And so we're going to jump to our next segment as we start to wrap up. And that's going to be some questions for you, right? So the first question is, if you can go back in time and coach the younger Stephanie, what advice would you give her?
Get a into rental property early.
Right.
So I always knew becoming a homeowner. And again, with my background, I say, well, if I get a house at 25, by the time I retire, it's going to be paid out. That was kind of my mind frame. So if I do it early, but again, I didn't know that I would be the entrepreneur that I am now. So if I could go back, I would definitely get a multi-unit first, because I could leverage. I would have that rental income. It's going to pay for itself. So whether I got laid off or not, I still was going to have a roof over my head. It's a big difference. You sleep a little better at night, knowing for sure, that your mortgage is going to be paid. And everybody knows you have to have multiple income streams or side hustle, entrepreneurship endeavors. So I would have started a little sooner than I did now. So I would get a multi-unit property early. So as I finish college, that's my first investment.
Awesome.
All right, Steph. So the second question is, why did you and Mr. McCoy open PJ's Coffee on Read to become servant leaders for economic growth, particularly in the New Orleans community? Which I believe through our conversation, you answered that question.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it was underserved and it was needed.
Yeah.
And we didn't know we were going to be like leaders, and we didn't know. We just knew that there was an opportunity, to open a business, and it just blossomed into what it is now. And we're grateful for that. But we didn't know that it was going to be this. We thought differently, but that goes to show you, when you put in the hard work, and what's for you is for you, but you have to be willing to put in the work.
That's right. Yep. And how many team members do y'all employ right now?
So right now we have 13, but we are still hiring. We are 13, but we have 13 team members, but we're still hiring. So if you know anyone looking for employment, they can stop by the store for an application or go to pjsonread.com and complete an application for employment.
And what's the address again on Read? Do we have new listeners that's tuning in?
5733 Read Boulevard. That's 5733 Read Boulevard, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70127.
Awesome. And if you guys are tuning in, there's a community meeting space in the back. So if you need to book some meetings or personal, or just have a little workshop, there's a nice, comfortable community meeting room in the back as well. So in regards to, well, you answered that question as well. So we've been rolling.
Yeah.
So listen, how can somebody get in touch with Stephanie? How can they connect with you?
Go to the coffee shop.
Go to PJ's on Read, right?
Really busy. But again, I am always there. I'm in and out. You can call the store 504-354-8622, or you can, reach out on social media at #PJ's Read Boulevard. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Awesome.
I'm heavily involved, so I respond. I don't control it, but I do monitor. So I respond. If you inbox that page, myself or the social media person will respond.
Awesome. Thank you. So listen, we're going to move to the next segment. Every week we try to do a quote of the week. So today's quote is going to be, create a vision and never let your environment, other people's belief, or their limits of what has been done in the past shape your decisions for the future. And that's by Tony Robbins. Let me read that again. Create a vision and never let your environment, other people's belief, or the limits of what has been done in the past shape your decisions for the future, by Tony Robbins. So listen, guys, I'm Randy Chambliss. You can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at Mr. Randy Chambliss. My direct number is 504-270-2783. We provide free consultations. I'm the executive director of Louisiana Housing Authority, and also a corporate branch manager with Geneva Financial. And you can also look me up online at randyknowsmortgages.com.
And I'm Veronica Chambliss. You can find me on social media under Veronica Chambliss. My direct contact number is 504-715-4388. And my website is also V Knows Mortgages, and that's VEE knowsmortgages.com.
Awesome. Listen, Steph, it was great talking to you. You guys who was watching, we thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day on purpose. God bless.
That brings today's show to a close.
Oh, come on!
Thank you for listening to the Mortgage Wise radio show and video podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with a friend and subscribe. Please follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at the Mortgage Wise Radio Show. If you want to learn more about what we talked about today, give us a call at 504-270-2783. Or to view our podcast library, please visit our website, themortgagewiseradioshow.com.
Autobots, roll out!
Until next time, choose to have a great day on purchase, Mortgage Wise friends.
Go home.
Go home.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Yes,
night.
ma'am.